Welcome in, everyone, and thank you for listening to the 243rd ever episode of the Missouri Sports Podcast, brought to you by 106 Apparel and recording from the MSP studio in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. I'm one of your hosts, Cameron Albert, alongside my good friend and fellow Mizzou fan, Kyle DeVries. How are you doing today, Kyle?
I'm doing great, Cameron. How about you?
I'm doing well. Producer Cameron, can you turn my ears up a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
It's just truly wonderful to be in the MSP
studio. I just made that up.
That was great.
If you want your name to go there in the intro, email us and we'll tell you how much it costs. Name your price. We'll make it happen. Well, yeah, we're here, new studio. Hopefully everything works okay. We've tested out everything. Hopefully the video is workable. Hopefully the lighting's okay. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything works.
We're still figuring it out.
Yeah, we'll be tweaking things, adding decorations, adding more cameras maybe, all that kind of fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. Producer Cameron's over there now.
Oh, yeah, can't
Hello.
see me till we
Hey,
get
how's
the
it
new
going?
cameras. So,
Yep, we'll eventually get a producer cam. Yeah, so right off the top, I said this last week, but this is only possible because of our patrons on Patreon. Thank you to everyone. I say the names of the $10 people every episode, but there's $5 people. There's people that subscribed like a year ago and don't anymore. We really appreciate everybody that has contributed over there to make this happen. I'm excited to kind of make the space our own and put up more decorations and stuff. Pretty
Work in
exciting.
progress.
Yeah. What are we going to talk about today? We got the NFL draft. I'm wearing my Panthers jersey. Last time the Panthers had the number 1 overall pick, we got our franchise quarterback. Hoping to do the same thing tonight. We are going to talk about that, Mizzou players in the draft, and Mizzou basketball transfer portal stuff, all of that. Before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, leave us a review wherever you listen to us, and of course you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Missouri Sports Pod. Oh, Kyle, we have a little surprise for you. I just want to get it out of the way early.
Oh, nice.
Cameron, are you ready for that? We called Eric Musselman and had him give us a little soundbite that we can play on air just whenever we want.
Good idea.
And so this is what we got from Eric.
Okay.
So when you hear that in your ears, that's Eric Musselman joining us live in studio.
Wow. An incredible appearance that was from
Yeah.
Eric Musselman. Thank you, Eric.
Kyle, NFL draft. You ready for it?
I'm ready. Yeah, it's this is the time of year for sure where it's like not a lot going on, just need a little taste. Need a little taste of that football. And the NFL draft is great because I don't know, I just feel like you get a little insight into what the teams really want to do. They kind of show their hand a little bit, and we watch a lot of college football, obviously, so it's kind of fun to see some of those guys that we've watched for the last 3 or 4 years in college kind of get their shot at the next level. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and I'm happy that the Chiefs picked last at the end of the first round. That's always a good thing. So yeah, all is good.
Yeah, that's interesting. Panthers picking first overall, Chiefs picking last. Maybe one day the Panthers will pick last in the first round. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I remember, like, Bryce Young, obviously, the talk of the draft right now, probably going to go first overall. Mm-hmm. And I remember when he committed to Alabama, it was like, the conversation then was like, oh, Alabama is like becoming a place where quarterbacks want to go. And like 5-star quarterbacks, they're going to go to Alabama and then go pro. Mm-hmm. And that's been the case for like the last 3 or 4, maybe 5 Alabama starting quarterbacks going back to Tua.
Yeah, I mean, as incredible as Alabama has been, it's kind of amazing to think that they haven't really had I don't think they've had a guy go first overall. They haven't had like that top tier quarterback play. They're just good everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bryce Young had an incredible career, very productive. A little bit of measurables concerns at the NFL level, but I don't think that's going to deter Carolina from taking him first overall.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. From a Panthers fan perspective, I was kind of high on CJ Stroud for a while, but that was just like NFL Combine looking at measurables and stuff. It's
Easy
like,
to get sucked into that.
okay. And then like watching the highlights of him against Georgia, it was like, okay, this is really impressive.
Yeah.
But
That was like his best game ever, though.
yeah.
That was the pinnacle.
Yeah, which that's still
That's
very
good
impressive.
pinnacle.
Yeah. But watching Bryce Young highlights, it's kind of a different thing. I mean, the way he just looks like a pro quarterback.
Yeah, he's a much more consistent player in my mind.
Yeah.
But obviously we watched quite a bit of Will Levis in the last couple of years at Kentucky.
Yeah.
I think he's got a pretty good shot to go in the first 4 or 5 picks tonight. So what's your outlook on a Will Levis pro career?
Oh, who knows? Pro career? I have no idea. I mean, jeez.
Yeah.
I felt like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like Mac Jones or somebody. Is Will Levis better than Mac Jones at this point, like on draft day?
I think so.
Yeah.
But maybe the gap's probably not super big.
It feels like he could be Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Or he could be.
It could be worse.
Yeah.
Just depending on what team he goes to.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the reason he's not, I don't have him. I don't think he's going to go like top 4. I think Young and Stroud will be the only quarterbacks that go top 5.
That might be how it should go.
Yeah, maybe that's kind of
maybe
that's kind of what I'm thinking is how it should go more than how it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Will Levis.
You're not totally bought in, huh?
Yeah, but part of that is just I didn't like the fact that he went to Kentucky and was good.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a really, really good junior season at Kentucky. They had a really good offensive coordinator, and he was healthy, and he also had Wan'Dale Robinson playing wide receiver, so had a great junior season and kind of had a fall off his senior year, but I think he had some injuries and stuff going on. But it will be interesting to see what Will Levis does in the NFL.
I think what I'm trying to say is I'm a Will Levis hater.
You're a hater.
I'll
That's
just
fine.
say it.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's totally
Embrace
fine.
it.
He won't get any pushback from me.
Another guy that we watched that's going to go in the first round most likely is Richardson from Florida. And man, his draft story has been kind of wild.
Yeah.
Like this time last year, I feel like he was not on anybody's radar.
No, I don't think I had even heard of him a year ago.
And then,
and we're pretty deep in the culture.
right. And then he has a solid year at Florida, but nothing crazy, but showed those flashes. I mean, even like against Mizzou, especially, he showed those flashes where it's like, okay, he is an incredible athlete.
Yeah.
Like
Literally
the top 1% of the 1% most athletic people on this planet.
Literally the greatest combine performance of all time.
Yeah.
From a quarterback.
And you could see that by watching his highlights. It's like, okay, this guy can do incredible things from the quarterback position and like his size and everything.
Yeah, there's definitely an argument that to be made that if he got in there, get coached up a little bit, maybe have a year where he's sitting behind somebody where you could really make the case for him that he would do some special things. But I don't know. That'll be another intriguing one to watch for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a world where like all 4 of those guys go in the top 5 picks, I guess.
Yeah.
But
it could happen.
I don't know.
I don't think it will, but it could.
Yeah. And then there's another world where like Levis and Richardson don't go till like 12 and 14. Or I feel like that's probably the lowest they would go. It's like the Houston second first rounder.
Mm-hmm.
And then like
sometimes if those quarterbacks, if they don't get picked in the first few, they can slide to the back of the first potentially, but who knows, man? Nobody knows what's going to happen tonight.
No. Who are you hoping the Chiefs pick?
I've seen Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee wide receiver mocks to the Chiefs a few times the last couple of days, which usually those mocks leading up to it can be like pretty accurate. Jalen Hyatt, Mizzou fans probably remember him. He's a field stretcher for sure. And caught a lot of touchdowns last year. But a lot of people think that Josh Heupel's offense is a little gimmicky, a little shallow.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure everybody's totally sold on Hyatt at the next level. I don't think that would be my pick for the Chiefs, but maybe like a Zay Flowers or a Jordan Addison type receiver, wide receiver or something.
Is that what you want him to do? Is go wide receiver
or an edge rusher? Probably the guy from Kansas State is a guy I've seen in that range, which I'm not going to attempt to pronounce his name.
Yeah. The Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. Hopefully the Panthers can right the ship here with a quarterback and get back on the right track.
Yeah, I think Bryce Young will be a good pick.
Mizzou players in the draft. This is not as, I feel like we've had better drafts for Mizzou prospects, and we could have had one this year if a few more guys went pro. I think that we're kind of flirting with it. Chris Abrams-Drain, off the top of my head, I can't remember who else might have been able to get drafted, but happy to have them back for another year.
Yeah, a lot of fringe guys for sure that are coming back. That'll be great to have. So Mizzou has 3 guys that I think have the chance to be drafted. One for sure, and that's Isaiah McGuire. So Isaiah McGuire played his whole career at Mizzou as a defensive end. I think he'll probably go in the 3rd or 4th round. He's probably like the 6th or 7th ranked defensive end in this class. He's not, I don't know that I would say he's like your typical edge rusher. Like he's not gonna just go off for double-digit sacks at the NFL level or anything like that, but he's one of the most well-rounded prospects, I think, in the class, just as far as being able to, he can rush the passer, but I think he's a very good run stopper as well. And I think that's just kind of a premium position. Like you're not going to see a whole lot of running backs go high in the NFL draft. It's kind of a replaceable position, all things considered. Defensive end is more of a premium position, and so teams are really looking to get a talented defensive end. So, that could possibly put him in the even higher in the 3rd round. I don't know that I see him going before that, though.
Yeah, I think 4th round makes sense for him. And I feel like, he's got some versatility as far as what he can do, like you were mentioning, but also he's just above average size. And I think he tested above average in most of the speed drills as well.
Yeah, he tested pretty well.
So I think his profile, all things considered, I think it's solid. And 4th rounder, that's somebody that you expect to stick around in your in your program. No.
In your franchise?
In your franchise, yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely not, like I was talking about earlier, like just to make a Mizzou comparison prospect-wise, he's very much not like a Shane Ray type defensive end, but he's more of like kind of the NFL style where I think there is a place for kind of those 3rd down pass rushers that can, create havoc on passing downs and stuff. But I think Isaiah McGuire is more of a guy that can be on the field any down, but, maybe more like the run situation more so than the pass. But either way, I think he's got a really good shot to be a really solid player.
Yeah, and he's a guy that just literally worked himself into that position by producing on the field in college.
Very productive.
He was not a guy coming into Mizzou that you're like, oh, watch out, this guy in 2 years he's going to be drafted in the 4th round.
Right.
He kind of had to prove it year after year that he's legit.
Yeah, which is we've talked about how Missouri has to make their money. They have to have those 3 and 4 year guys who get stronger and get that experience over time, and that's where Missouri's going to be at their best when they have a lot of these guys that are kind of older and more experienced. But yeah, you mentioned it. He had a productive career. He had 116 tackles at Mizzou and 16 sacks, so did a lot.
All right, so he's sure thing getting drafted. Anybody else that's a sure thing, or are we talking kind of maybe not?
I would say he's probably the only one that I would feel comfortable saying he's for sure getting drafted. I would say the next most likely is Martez Manuel. Martez has really good size for a safety. He's good weight for sure and good speed. He tested pretty well. And had a very productive career at Mizzou. Had 196 tackles and 11 sacks at Missouri. And he really was kind of made an impact early on. I think he played as a true freshman and got in there early. So that's a good sign that NFL teams like to see. Is kind of those early breakout ages, early ages of guys getting in there and contributing is a good sign of talent. And he definitely had his best season in 2021 as far as stats wise. I think he had almost 80 tackles in 2021. So, and he kind of just has those intangibles too, where he was a great leader, and the guys kind of rallied around him, and he's just a confident guy, got a chip on his shoulder, that kind of thing that I think teams really like. So You could probably say that about a lot of guys in
Yeah.
the draft, but I really do think that's, I'm not just saying that about Martez Manuel. He was definitely a leader for Mizzou.
Yeah, I feel like that type of player who is kind of fringe draft pick is like teams are kind of sitting there hoping that nobody drafts him in like the 6th round because he's like at the top of their list to call after the draft is over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. He'll get signed on an undrafted free agent deal, almost undoubtedly.
All right, who else we got?
Last guy is DJ Coleman. May not be as familiar of a name to some of you guys as Martez Manuel, but defensive end that transferred from, I guess, a lower level this past season as like a graduate transfer. I can't remember what school he played for before he came to Mizzou, but he has a really good size, very productive career, like extremely productive at the what do they even call it?
Jacksonville State.
Yeah,
where he came from.
What do they call that?
FCS.
FCS. Yeah, very productive at the FCS level. At Mizzou, he had 37 tackles and 5 sacks. I would say like the biggest knock on him is, well, he didn't test very well in some of the agility stuff, some of the speed stuff. He didn't do super well. He did all right in the bench press, but mainly he's just kind of old for a prospect. Typically, you have to. There's got to be some unique circumstances if you're going to be, 23 years old or whatever he is coming out of college. But again, I think that he'll sign with a team in an undrafted free agent role if he doesn't get drafted. Not impossible, but I would be a little surprised if DJ Coleman was drafted. But I don't know if I really noticed it, if I really realized it in the season. But and he was a tremendous addition for us this past year. Like kind of helped to revive the defensive line and just played really, really well.
So just 3 guys that are even close to being drafted?
I think so. Next year, you kind of alluded to it. Next year, I think we'll have a bigger group of guys. I don't know if we'll have a whole lot of guys that will go high, but there'll be a much bigger group just overall of guys that have a chance. And I think Harrison Mevis will be included in that as well. So see if we can get a specialist drafted.
Yeah, hopefully he has a really nice season this year that warrants being drafted.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So anything else about the NFL draft before we move on?
I don't think so.
We forgot to look at a couple things here, but last week we did our Mizzou uniform tier list, and that was really fun and pretty good reaction on YouTube and on Twitter and stuff from that. So we appreciate everybody giving their feedback on that. I don't think I saw anybody that just like flamed our takes and said they were trash. So we did okay, I think. Mm-hmm. We maybe played it a little bit safe. There was one person in the YouTube comments that likes the gray shoulder pad area on the white jersey from like 2012, 2013. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily that bad. It's like when you're trying to pick between Mizzou uniforms, I kind of like them all. So, but somebody tweeted at you a uniform combination that we kind of overlooked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a couple people send us their tier list, but at the Misery Index on Twitter said that we missed the greatest uniform set in Mizzou history, which it looks like probably from maybe the 2020 season or 2021. With it's a picture of Connor Bazelak. It's like an all white with like the gold block M on the helmet, which it does look pretty crispy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So we did miss that one.
We had the home version of that, the all black,
right.
And that's that helmet that I love. That's the block M within the little diamond pattern in the stripe. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we had the home version of that, but yeah, definitely the away version, very nice as well.
Yeah, and then he sent us a tier list as well, and he just has one uniform that's S tier, and it's the picture of Jalen Knox, kind of the all black home uniforms they're pretty sick for sure.
Yeah, that's the one I think is basically the same as the all white.
Right.
Yeah.
We had another one, another couple that were sent in to us. Let's see.
Some people were liking the all gold, the picture of Drew Lock, the all gold with the big tiger head on it.
Yeah.
We didn't like that one as much. I know producer Cameron really likes that one.
Oh, yeah.
And we definitely had some people in Discord mentioning that one as one of their favorites.
Yeah, we had one person on Twitter say the lone S tier uniform for them was the Sailor Tiger on the helmet, with Luther Burden in that picture. So I mean, yeah, I think we liked that one.
I'm saying next year we just do helmets only.
I agree.
We're gonna have to. There's just too many good helmets.
Yeah. So yeah, it was fun to see everybody's feedback on that.
Maybe we can actually make somebody mad with that one.
Probably
People definitely have opinions on
get
the
a little more
helmets.
divisive.
Yeah. All right. So thanks for everybody's feedback on the uniforms, and I'm trying to come up with some more fun stuff like that for the off season. Now, switching gears to basketball, transfer portal. Missouri
It's
has
tough out there on the streets right now.
It is tough, but I don't know. I'm thinking about this kind of as I'm talking, and I feel like we've got John Tonje committed from Colorado State. Like it feels like the day the transfer portal opened.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's
Kind of forget about that one.
exactly. And with Caleb Grill and Tamar Bates, like that's 3 solid pickups.
Very solid.
But some of these misses are hurting a little bit. Caleb Love to Michigan, now Caden Shedrick to Texas, and just today was announced Jamarion Sharp to Ole Miss. Oh, I hate that.
So random.
Chris Beard's at Ole Miss. I don't know
back.
if we talked about that on the show yet. That's awful. I hate that so much.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. I won't go into it too much, but yeah, of course.
No, I want you to fight on Twitter with another Texas coach. Jamarion Sharp to Ole Miss, Caden Shedrick to Texas. Those are frustrating misses, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I was locked into to Shedrick's announcement.
Yeah.
He announced live on like Jeff Goodman's show or somebody, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of bought in. I felt like the stars were aligning. He had a visit lined up to Xavier that he ended up canceling because they got a big guy. Kind of felt like he wasn't an option for Duke anymore. And then Texas had a big man return the day he announced.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like, all right, he took a visit to Mizzou. Mizzou was his last visit before he shut everything down and decided he wanted to make his announcement.
You're making me feel like he's coming to Mizzou
Yeah,
right
I know.
now.
It was like pretty much every little signal that you want, and when you're reading the tea leaves, it felt like this feels good here. We have unlimited playing time to give to him. He talked about in his announcement before he announced he was going to Texas. He said, "Yeah, I kind of want to reinvent my game, play somewhere where I have a lot of opportunity and all this stuff." So I was like, "Man, okay, this." I was like smiling. I'm like, "All right, we're good."
It's all lining up.
And then, it didn't happen.
And he said in his like post-announcement interview that it was absolutely neck and neck, but then he said it was down to Texas and Mizzou, and it was very close, but then he went with Texas because he said they have a history of putting big men in the NBA. Sure, okay, that's fine. Like, what coach are you? What coach are you talking about? What coaching staff are you talking about? But like just
the brand name.
the University Texas.
Yes.
Yes,
because
Oh well.
Hey, it's fine.
We wish him the best.
Hey, we
At
didn't
least
even
he's
want
not
him.
in the SEC anymore.
We didn't even want him.
Yep. If they go somewhere else, we don't want them. Then Jamarion Sharp to Ole Miss. It's just not meant to be.
I have nothing. Yeah,
I guess
I have nothing else to say here. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he didn't like Coach Smith Peters.
Maybe.
Maybe like
that's the connection we're assuming
exactly
that is like golden.
I think I threw that out there a couple weeks ago. Like we just assume that anytime a player goes in the transfer portal or something like that, and they have like a coaching connection, it's like, okay, well, there it is. That's got to be. It's a shoe in. But maybe they don't like their coach, and this seems to be the case here.
It could be. So now, I mean, we missed out on all the big men that I want to slot into the 5 spot.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's going to be somebody else that comes into the picture at some point, but it seemed like everybody, like our 1A, 1B, 1C. I mean, we're going down the list and we're running out of options here.
yeah, now every option that has said no so far has been, like option number 1, 1A, 1B, like you said. So it doesn't feel like we've we're not like scraping the bottom of the barrel just yet. But I don't know who all is out there
Right.
to even look at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like you got to go all in on Matthew Cleveland if you're the coaching staff. And that situation seems more promising than I first thought. I think I kind of went back and forth. I was like, okay, this is awesome. He's got the connection with CY. We should be in a really good shape. And then there was some rumblings about like, it may be the case that the only reason he's in the portal is because he already knows where he wants to go.
Right.
And it's like, okay, that's understandable. So maybe we'll not get too excited. Then he visited Mizzou.
Yeah.
Hasn't committed anywhere else yet. Still taking visits. So I'm like, okay, the longer this goes, I think I kind of like Mizzou a little bit better with him.
Yeah. Yeah, let me offer this thought
Okay.
to you, Cameron. What if Missouri was the school that he knew he wanted to go to
Hey,
when he hopped in that portal?
sounds good to me. No tampering.
No tampering, of course. But yeah, I mean, I think that CY connection is pretty strong. And, he did it does sound like he did take a visit to Missouri. He visited Auburn, or it may still be there. It's very recent. So
Visiting Auburn.
Auburn seems to be a player a little bit random.
Gross.
But anytime you're recruiting into Bruce Pearl, you just never know what kind of ace he has up his sleeve. So
Now, Bruce Pearl, he's the type that would tamper. And
Exactly.
he's making strong offers before anybody hits the transfer portal, I think.
Exactly.
Could we get like in trouble for making wild accusations like that?
I don't know.
Hypothetically, he might do something like that as a joke.
Everything we're saying is a joke.
Yes.
Need
But
a
yeah,
compliance department.
I say bring in Matthew Cleveland.
Yeah, bring him in.
And
That's what you want to do.
we don't even need a big man.
No.
We don't need anybody at the 5. Positionless basketball, all forwards. 3 forwards and 2 guards. Cleveland's got long arms. He can block shots.
Kobe did announce he is going to go through the process, which that surprises nobody.
No.
He
specifically said he's maintaining his eligibility.
Mhm.
So
nothing's.
nothing's changed at all.
I
there.
think he'll probably get that early second round grade, but we've talked about the pros and cons of him leaving. We've gone through all that, but it'll probably still be probably a month or I don't know, a few weeks at least before we know what he's going to do.
Yeah, almost exactly a month, I think. End of May is when you have to pull your name out of the draft. And I'm basically trying to convince myself, I'm trying to tell myself that he's gone at this point.
Yeah.
And if he returns, awesome.
Yeah, interesting caveat is Caleb Brown has decided he's transferring.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was like a little bit interesting. Like you can kind of, again, like with most things, you can kind of create a narrative that either way, if he's going into the transfer portal, then maybe it sounds like Kobe's gone.
Right.
But you can also say, well, he's a good basketball player too, and maybe he just wants to go create his own story somewhere. So either way, you can make up a narrative, but so we don't really know what that means in relation to Kobe coming back or not. We just gotta wait it out.
Yeah, the way I'm thinking about that Kobe at this point is just honestly, if I'm him and you tell me it looks like probably there's like a handful of teams here that would like to pick you in the second round of the NBA draft, you got to just go.
Probably.
And whatever happens after that, it's going to be a grind. But what are you looking at? I feel like, again, you can take this either way, but to not set myself up for disappointment, I'm thinking there's still a grind no matter what. If you want to play basketball professionally and you're not like a lottery pick, then you're going to have to work really hard to make that happen.
Yep.
So whether he goes through the draft process and gets picked in the second round, he could be, a role player on an NBA team he could actually make a living in the NBA, or that could just be the start of his professional career that has a lot of twists and turns. I mean, Drew Smith, he's still showing up he was playing in regular season NBA games. I think he maybe even played in a playoff game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, as much as I love Drew Smith, I never would have imagined that he'd stick around on an NBA roster.
No, and it's kind of like just playing the odds at some point. It's like, well, probably not,
Right.
But
he's just not really the profile that I think of when I think of NBA player. But hey, I mean, there's a place for smart guys like Drew and just like
hard workers. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how like in recent Mizzou basketball history, it's been Michael Porter Jr., who was like going to be a lottery pick no matter what. Literally had like worst case scenario happen, basically. Maybe it was worse if he played all year and was just awful, but basically didn't play college basketball.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
He could have been bad.
yeah.
I never thought about that.
Not very likely scenario, especially considering what he's doing now.
Yeah.
But yeah, didn't matter what he did. He was going to be a lottery pick, late lottery to who knows, number 1 overall. But doesn't matter at that point. And he actually ended up going to a better team in Denver because of that situation. So we've had that where it's like sure thing lottery pick no matter what, who actually didn't contribute very much for Mizzou, to like some of the most favorite players in the history of Mizzou basketball, recent memory. And they're just like fringe NBA guys. Will they make a roster? They're going to have to grind it out in the summer league, that sort of thing.
Yep.
I would take some more NBA draft picks coming through.
I'd take somebody that's both of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. I would
Lottery pick and productive at Mizzou.
Yes. Mizzou legend who... Michael Porter Jr. will always be a Mizzou legend. Like, there's a lot in that, you know?
Yeah.
But
It's complicated.
yeah, unfortunately. Matthew Cleveland, though. Come on down. I don't know, though. I'm scared that they're going to have to roll into next year with no proper big man. And Mohamed Diarra is...
Majak.
Yeah, that's true. He played some minutes in SEC play this past year. He's still on the roster. Mohamed Diarra landed at NC State, which, no offense, don't mean this anyway, except that's an impressive landing spot, I think. Better than I would have expected.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely surprised by that.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, but you can see the skill set he has is very unique, and he is not a consistent player, and he's not really gonna fill the role that Missouri needed.
No.
Like we needed a post player, and he's not that. But at the same time, whenever he got the ball out of the perimeter and started driving in, it didn't go super well either. But you know, he has that outcome in him where he's a productive perimeter player, and he's a very talented player. So I don't know.
He was searching his name a little bit or checking his his mentions right after that announcement, and he did allude to the fact that he was not interested in playing the 5 spot at Mizzou, and that was what was available to him. And so that's I don't know, that's a good way to part ways with a player, I guess. Just being like, hey, listen, this is what we see for you next year. What do you think? I'm not digging it. I'm gonna go somewhere else.
It was so fascinating. I don't know. We're kind of getting off a tangent here, but what's so fascinating about Diarra is we knew that about him before the season started.
Like he himself said he sees himself playing the 3.
Yes,
and we were like,
no, you're not.
That's not happening.
We need a post player, and that's what you're gonna do because we've watched your highlights, and you're like 6'11".
Yeah,
sorry, buddy. And somehow we knew that, and he didn't. Is fascinating to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that may have been one of the things where like you just take the best landing spot possible and then just kind of prove what you can do. Bet on yourself a little bit, but obviously the coaching staff had other ideas. So, still a lot of twists and turns left in the off season for both sports. I'm ready for college football to start. I'm ready for those rumblings to start back up a little bit.
It's almost time.
Yeah,
almost time to start getting a little antsy for it.
Mm-hmm. This is a relatively short episode. There wasn't a whole lot to go over, and we just needed to make sure that this would all work the first time in a new location. So go easy on us. There's going to be things that we have to fix and tweak as we go. Like Kyle said, it's a work in progress, but at least we have our own space to make exactly what we want. If you have any comments about the new setup, let us know. Anything else, Kyle, before we end
Nothing
this
for
thing?
me.
All right. Well, I think that will be it. Special thank you to our Patreon supporters at the $10 level and above: Britt Treese, Brian Smith, Ryan Demore, Tristan, Ben Smith, Parker, Daddy JD, Tim Keynes, Tyler Harsel, Brandon Garofalo, Brandon Hanks, Matthew Tilley, and Cooper Boyer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. You can find this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter at Mizzou Sports Pod, and you can email us at MissouriSportsPod@gmail.com.
You can find our t-shirts and stickers on our online shop, MissouriSportsPod.BigCartel.com.
Wow, I'm really climbing the ladder there. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We will see you next week after the draft.